Welcome to the Sales Influence Podcast, where we talk about finding the why in how people buy. I'm your host, Victor Antonio. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for lending me those golden ears. Today I want to talk about, it's a deep frustration I have as a coach and a trainer. Now let me kind of set this up. I have companies who hire me and to be a coach or trainer to their sales team. Love it. We're good so far. But here's what I've noticed. People or groups or management fall into two groups. There's a type of managers who really push and really understand the need for coaching and continuous education. And these are the same managers that will reinforce the need for that coaching and training every time. In other words, they keep pushing it. They keep reminding salespeople, take advantage of the coaching, take advantage of the training, really all about continuous education. That's Group A. Over here, we have Group B. Now, these are people who hire me or other coaches to go in and train their salespeople or coach them, let's say, for a given period of time, let's say 3 months, 4 months, whatever it may be. And these are courses or training sessions that we have that last a month, 2 months, again, 3 months, and sometimes we do them on a weekly basis or a bi-weekly basis. But here's what I've noticed. Group A is all about reinforcing with their team. Managers are reinforcing with their team that training is necessary. Take advantage of these coaching sessions and then report back on what you've learned and let's see what you've implemented. That's type A. Group B are the type of people that hire me and then just kind of give me their salespeople. They don't reinforce the need for learning. So what do you think typically happens? I get into a coaching session with these salespeople, and maybe for the first 1, 2, maybe even 3 sessions, they're like kind of hooked. They're in. And then I started really pushing hard, like, are you implementing the strategies I've suggested? And I usually get answers like, I tried a couple of things. I tried 1 or 2 things. And I said, no, are you consistently using some of the strategies, some of the processes that I'm showing you how to implement within your process or presentation process that's going to make you more effective? And again, I get the kind of half-ass commitment. And then when I talk to the managers, their expectation is that I should be responsible for their training. Now listen carefully. If I'm their boss, they're going to listen to me. But if I'm just an outside coach/consultant, let's be real about this. They're going to listen to me to the extent that you, the manager, deem it necessary and a requirement for them to actually listen. So in other words, if you're just going to hand over your salespeople to a coach or a trainer, I think you're doing them an injustice. But if you're a manager that says, hey, I got a coach trainer for you that I want you to work with, and I will be checking in, I will be looking at your progress, I will be looking at how you're implementing some of the changes, and I will be monitoring that. That's how you use people like me. But if you're just going to throw your salespeople at me, say, here, Victor, they're all yours, you're responsible, it's not going to work. Again, there'll be the type of salesperson that will take personal responsibility and actually don't need management intervention to actually go through the training or the coaching and will actually listen and want to learn. I love these salespeople who are hungry. But there's some people, the majority of them, who are set in their ways. They want to do it their way. Even though they're not hitting their number, they want to do it their way. And it's frustrating for me because when I do talk to the managers and say something like, look, I'm walking them through certain process. I'm listening to their recordings, and I can tell they're not implementing the strategies, tactics that I'm showing them. And the manager will be like, well, just keep working with them. Just keep nudging them along. But until the manager makes it a priority that the coaching that I'm delivering, the mentoring, again, the online just advising, if they're not going to play with it, in other words, they're not going to use it, then they're not going to use it. They're not going to be successful. They're not going to be taking their game to the next level, so to speak. So what typically then happens? Let's go fast forward. What happens is the managers who are not involved then become a little disgruntled and frustrated. They're like, well, why isn't this working? Well, again, 2 types of managers. Managers who are fully engaged with the training. In other words, it's kind of a triad, right? It's myself, the manager, and the salesperson. When you got that type of triangulation, training, coaching works. But when you just make it a dual conversation, me and the salesperson, manager steps out, hardly does it ever work unless you have a very motivated or self-motivated salesperson. So what's my lesson here for managers? If you want coaching, outside trainers to work with your sales team, you got to be involved. You got to be in the game with them. The triangulation piece is important. All 3 parties have to be moving in the same direction. But if you just decide to I guess, give me the responsibility, just outsource the responsibility to somebody else, I think you're going to have a hard time getting your salespeople to adopt new habits, new strategies, new tactics, and you're going to wind up being a frustrated manager. But even worse, we're going to have a salesperson who just stays mediocre because they don't want to accept the training or they don't deem it as important as you, the sales manager. So something to keep in mind when you bring on a sales coach or trainer to work with your sales team. And on that note, this is Victor Antonio, always reminding you that selling ain't hard when you coach them and they listen and the manager's involved and you know how to do it all together. Take care. See you next time.